Hello, Amanda.
Yes.
It's Neil Waters here from the Thylacine Awareness Group.
Oh, hi, how are you?
Very good, thanks. How are you?
I'm good. Now, I am driving at the back of Dramana, and if I drop out, don't worry too much because I'll ring you back.
That's cool. Are you in Tassie, are you?
No, I'm in Melbourne.
Oh, okay, Melbourne. You had your sighting in Victoria, did you?
No.
Ah,
So,
where did you see one?
in Tasmania.
Ah, the plot thickens.
Yeah. It was 8 years ago, Neil. I haven't really told too many people about this. It's been a bit of a secret.
Yeah, okay. Are you happy for me to get a recording of you revealing your secret?
Oh, I don't mind at all. I've decided that I'll give you some background. I'm a science teacher and I was an assistant principal at a very big college at that point in time, and one of my things was I didn't really want anyone to know, and I wasn't 100% sure of myself either, so I kept it to myself, or my husband and I kept it to ourselves.
So you
But,
both saw it.
yeah.
Awesome. Whereabouts?
It was coming through from Strahan, going through to Hobart, and we were in that really twisty area. Is it the Franklin National Park?
Yeah, I know where you mean, and that's where you pull over to have a look at the waterfall on the side of the road there.
Yeah, but we were up a bit high, and it was quite twisty and turny, and it was about 9:30 in the morning.
Okay, so you saw it during the day.
Yeah, 19th of September 2016.
Oh, very good. Very
So it's
good.
etched in my memory because I'm a science teacher. I've got 2 degrees in science, so I kind of know what I'm looking at.
Excellent.
Anyway, we were driving. Do you want me to tell you?
Yeah, go for it. Fire away.
We were driving along, and I was driving the car. And at that time, my husband wasn't my husband; he was my boyfriend. And we'd only been together for about 6 months. And I thought to myself, things were going pretty well. We'd gone to Tasmania together, but we were driving along, and it was a little bit misty, and the road was very quiet. There was nothing coming either way. And I saw something standing in the middle of the road, and I kind of didn't know what it was. I thought, oh yeah, it's just, know what it was. I wasn't close enough. And we got a fair bit closer. We got about 20 metres away from it, and I had to stop. And I said to my husband, what kind of animal is that? I've never seen anything like that before. And he was looking at the map, and he looked up, and he said, what the hell? And it sort of started walking across the road towards the bush, and then it turned around, looked at us, and it felt like for the longest time, and then it turned back and walked into the bush.
So you were a bit mesmerised.
We just sat there in the car. We'd stopped the car, we sat there in the car and just looked at each other, and I said, what the hell was that?
Wow. What did he say?
He looked at me and he said, you know what that was? And I said, no. I said, no, that's just, no. I said, it can't possibly be. But I said, down deep inside, I knew what it was. I could tell by the shape of its tail. When it turned and looked at me face forward, I was looking straight at it.
Yep.
And I knew exactly what it was. We got to Hobart, and we actually went to this old pub, and on the wall were two really old paintings of tigers. They were beautiful paintings, and I took photos of them. And I said to Ian then, that's what we saw. And he said, dead straight, that's what we saw.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it wasn't huge. I don't think it was much bigger than maybe a Labrador.
Yep.
The tail was so dead straight, the stripes across the butt, and just the way it walked too, it just ambled across the road as if it had all the time in the world. And when it looked at us, it was really weird. It was like, it wasn't frightened or anything. It didn't take off its speed. It just walked slowly off into the bush.
Fantastic.
It's
And
a bit weird, isn't it?
well, look, it's good that there's two of you, and it was daylight, and you were less than 20 meters from it, yeah?
And yes, and Ian was counting the stripes. So I wasn't counting the stripes. I was looking into its face.
Yep.
And he was busy counting stripes and saying, look at the stripes, look at the stripes. And by the time I looked away from its face to look at the stripes, it was nearly gone.
How many stripes were there, do you recall?
Well, I think Ian said something like, he said that he was trying to work out if they were finer on the sort of the side of it. And he was saying something like 10. But I don't know how well he was counting, to be honest with you. It's kind of a hard thing to do, but I don't even know why he was counting the stripes, but he was mesmerised because he could see the stripes. He was like, oh my God, there's stripes on this thing. What is it? What is it?
And
for a while, I thought it was a feral cat. I thought maybe it's a feral cat, and then I thought it was a wild dog. It was the wrong colouring. It was the wrong walk. It was the wrong way its head was. Its head was very distinct.
okay. What colour was it?
It was a golden colour.
Okay.
Golden to dark brown at the back.
Okay, yep. And what was the thing about the way it walked? Was there anything particular about that, or?
It didn't walk like anything that I'd seen before. It didn't walk like a dog. And it didn't walk like a cat. And if you're asking me if it was a paddy melon, I know paddy melons very well. It wasn't a paddy melon.
Yeah, well, paddy melons hop. They don't walk.
Yeah, no. And the tail never touched the ground.
Yep.
Straight out.
And was the amble on this thing a bit awkward looking, maybe? Would you say awkward?
I would. It was hard because it's walking on a road.
Yeah.
So it seemed to walk higher from the back than the front.
So it was almost bouncing or hopping at the back while it was walking at the front.
I don't know whether I'd say hopping because it was very slow. Very, very slow. It was taking its time. It didn't rush off.
How long do you think you watched it for?
We were there for ages because then it took us ages to actually start the car and go again. And I really wanted to get out and see if I could find it. So I was really in shock for a while, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I think we watched it for probably 3 or 4 minutes, but it felt like a lot longer.
Didn't think to film it with your phone at the day at the time?
Look, I tell you what, I could kick myself because I was in the perfect position to have done so.
Yeah.
I think it's just, I didn't actually believe it was happening. Like, who goes to Tasmania and sees a thylacine?
Yeah, that's it.
Ridiculous, isn't it?
Well,
Ridiculous.
it's not as ridiculous as what some people may believe, that's for sure.
Well, yeah, possibly. And, it's played on my mind ever since. And I said to Ian not long ago at the start of this year, I said, we should have told someone. We should have gone and actually told someone. But the only people we've ever told are my son-in-law,
Yep.
who's very, very much into, being in the bush and knows a lot about the bush. And I think that's about it. Oh, and Ian told his brother. We've never told anyone.
Yeah, right. Well, you've come to the right place telling me, because I love hearing these stories.
I hoped you would.
Honestly, I started doing this in 2014. In 2016, the year you had your sighting, I released a video in September, actually. On September the 7th, we released it. And my life has been a snowball of information ever since. It just gets bigger and bigger.
Really?
Ever since. For the last 8 years, it's just been nuts. It's never really let up.
Isn't that incredible? So I didn't know any of that.
Yeah, well, it's some people get media, some people get bits of media, and, then one day someone sees that we're out there and bang, you're onto it, and here we are, having that chat,
Yeah, I have to tell you, it's never left my always in the back of my mind.
Now,
And for a little while I thought, if I'd been on my own, I might have doubted myself, but because I was with him,
yeah,
I knew, I knew I'd
you
seen it.
had a witness to it, yeah.
Yeah, it was better that I had someone there, but I've never forgotten it, and I've never forgotten the way it turned and looked at me. And it was almost like, I want to say, it's like it had seen cars before. It wasn't frightened, it didn't run, it didn't bolt, but the way it looked at me, just turned its head, stopped, turned its head, and just looked at me.
Well, that's not unusual. Sometimes they just don't even bother looking at the people that see them. They just keep going on their merry path with their nose to the ground. But when they do that, I think they're on the scent of another animal that they're hunting, probably.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, probably.
But yeah, there are quite a few sightings where people say it just looked at me and it kind of looked right through me and I froze because I didn't know what to do and I was in shock, and that happens quite a bit.
I wanted to say it drank me in because that's what I felt like. It just we just locked eyes, and I know that sounds a bit ridiculous and romantic, but it wasn't that kind of feeling. It really just locked eyes and really didn't turn away. Strange.
Now, I don't know which way you'll go here, but do you recall the colour of its eyes at all?
Oh, you know what? This is a hard one, isn't it? Because I'm also a psychology teacher, and I know about memory being impacted.
What a battle going on inside your head with this one.
There's been a lot going on inside my head, my friend. I want to say they were dark, but I just, that's one of the things that I couldn't bank on.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine. I mean, generally the eye colour is going to be something that's more obvious under headlights at night anyway, I believe.
I did have my headlights on because it was one of those really cold, misty days. We'd come out of Strahan, and we were in a hurry to get down to Hobart, and neither of us had ever been there before, and we weren't sure where we were going, and I tell you what, that road was dynamite, and I don't like driving on twisty roads, so I was going slow.
Yep.
I wasn't driving.
It's a long drive from Strahan to Hobart. People think it's only a couple of hours, but it's not. It can be 6-7 hour drive sometimes.
It was that. It was a long drive.
Yeah, it's very windy.
It was a really interesting, but I've never forgotten it because I just, and I've never forgotten what I said because I didn't know what I was looking at.
So here's a question I want to put to you. As a scientist, someone who teaches science, I'm guessing at a high school level?
Yes, I teach year 11 and 12. I'm also a qualified medical scientist,
All right. So as a scientist, if you had to report on your observation with your now husband, how would you present that to a bunch of other scientists who want to scrutinise what you are about to tell them? How would you go about that?
I would just be very logical and present exactly what I saw.
Okay.
Like, describe exactly what I saw. Describe the shape of the tail, the shape of the head, the shape of the body, the way it moved. And that I've never seen anything like that before. It didn't move like a marsupial. It didn't move like a cat. The tail didn't flick up. The tail was dead straight, and it wasn't long. It wasn't a really massive long tail.
Yeah, okay.
I would just really explain it like that, and then I guess if I was, in full teaching mode, then I would present, some slides and show people why I think it's this.
Okay.
I try and eliminated what I thought it could be, and when I started eliminating things and matching, that was all I was left with.
You really, as a scientific conclusion, because science is basically a process of elimination of possibilities, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's what I've always done in my science, is eliminated. But if I'm diagnosing disease, I've eliminated.
Yeah. So after your process of elimination, it could have only have been one particular animal for your identification of it. What would you say then in regards to the extinction being the official word on what the thylacine is?
I don't think what I believe is a thylacine. And my thoughts are that there's a small population that has found a niche environment, and knowing that they only have 1 or 2 pups, and you could probably scrap 50%, small population that's, I don't know. It's a hard one, but I know what I saw.
Yeah.
And I saw a young one. It wasn't an older one.
So that gives you...
I the internet to see what people thought of older ones and how big they are, and if they'd seen bigger ones. I wouldn't have said this was an older animal.
It was too small to be an older animal.
It was small, but not small.
Yeah, okay.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah.
But it didn't look
fully grown.
Unkept.
Yeah.
No, and it didn't look unkept. It was fit, and it was healthy, and it was muscular.
Yep. And you saw the stripes quite clearly as well, obviously.
I saw them on the back because I was too busy looking at its front. So I was too busy looking at its face.
Yeah.
Before it moved off, I was really locked into its face, but Ian definitely saw the stripes.
When you were watching its face, was it standing or sitting?
Standing.
It was standing. Did you see it sit at all?
No.
Just standing the whole time?
Standing, yeah.
Yep. That's amazing. That's really, really quite a good, interesting observation with 2 witnesses, which just gives it that little bit more validation, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I firmly believe I know what I saw.
Yep. And when?
And when? Yeah, because I've got photos of the day before, because we'd left Cradle Mountain, gone into Strahan, and then we left Strahan to go to Hobart, because we were on a tight schedule at that point. We had 8 days to get around in the circle.
Yeah. What time had you left Strahan that morning?
Well, about 8-ish, I think. I want to say 8-ish, because we left early.
And what time was it roughly when you saw it? Do you recall?
I think it was around 9:30.
Okay. So you're not too far down the track.
No.
Yep. But when it's windy, when it's foggy and frosty out there, you got to take it real easy on that road. It's pretty dangerous.
Well, yeah, and also I wasn't really confident. It was a brand new car, and I wasn't feeling that confident. And my husband said to me, "I'll drive," because he's a bit of a petrol head and loves to drive. And I said, no, I'm going to drive this one this morning. So I wasn't driving like at lunatic speeds like he does. I would have been taking it really easy.
Yep.
And that's why I could stop. And I stopped quite easily.
Did you feel that if you did come out at the time with all this sort of what you'd experienced, that people would laugh and ridicule you and sort of say you were drunk or whatever? Was there that element of that there?
I wouldn't have thought they would have thought I was drunk, because it was so early in the morning.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, my apologies. But yeah. But
I was the assistant principal at a very big school, and I really didn't know how that would be taken.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's fair enough.
And it really took me a good year to 100% believe myself that that's what we saw, because I completely doubted what we saw. You know, I was looking for reasons why we didn't see that.
Yeah, and you couldn't find any.
And I couldn't. You know, it took me a long time to eliminate all the possibilities.
Yeah, and it's coming to grips and reconciling that new information with yourself, I suppose, as well.
Yeah. And, you know, I mean, for the last couple of years, I've sort of stepped down a little bit, and I'm still teaching.
Yeah.
I'm still teaching science and teaching kids at secondary college and that, but I'm not in leadership anymore. And I thought, you know what, I could actually come out and tell people now, because I don't care anymore.
Good on you. Are you okay if I put this out on our YouTube for people to have a listen to?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Excellent.
Fine
No worries. Cool.
I want people to know that I even though it was a long time ago, I want people to know that we definitely saw that.
Yeah.
We saw it.
No, it's 8 years isn't that long ago. I mean, we've already had 3 sightings in Tassie this year.
Wow.
In April we had 3. We've had 2 or 3 in South Australia as well.
I've seen that map, Neil, where it's got all the sightings on it. And it's all over Tasmania, which surprised me.
The mainland's the same. You should see the sightings for the mainland.
Really?
It's everywhere on the mainland as well, especially Western Australia and South Australia and Victoria. They have the most sightings.
Really?
Yeah, definitely.
Now, I've
Tasmania
been in
is about.
Victoria all my life, and I've never seen one here.
Yeah, well, look, in the reports we get, Tasmania is usually about fourth.
Gee.
It's usually WA, South Australia, Victoria, then Tassie, and then a couple here and there in New South Wales and Queensland. But I'm pleased to say last year we had a fresh sighting in the Northern Territory.
Gee.
And we had one on the same day in South Australia as well. We had two in the same day in winter last year, so that was pretty cool.
That's crazy.
Mm.
Yeah, it's impressive, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a huge plethora, and like what it shows me. I mean, look, okay, some of them might be wrong. They can't all be wrong, but
No.
it shows me the adaptability of the animal because it's in every kind of terrain you can think of. It's everywhere. It pops up in the desert. It pops up on the Nullarbor. It pops up in the snowy mountains. It's like this thing is a survivor. It's a tough animal, without a doubt.
Yeah, well, if it's an apex predator, so it'd be able to, whatever it finds in, a population that it can eat, it's going to eat it.
That's it. Someone was arguing with me the other day. They were laughing because I put out a video about the marsupial lion.
Oh, yeah.
And that's meant to have been extinct for 10,000 years, but hundreds of people have claimed to see that as well all over the mainland, you see. But the guy was saying that their main food supply died out when they did 10,000 years ago, being giant kangaroos. Like, he was that narrow-minded, he couldn't think that maybe they might just eat a red or a grey kangaroo instead, yeah?
Has he seen how big those grey kangaroos are?
Yeah, the reds are 7 foot tall out near Dubbo and out there on the Western Plains. They're huge.
Hey, I live on the Mornington Peninsula, and I lived up at Arthur's Seat, and it was quite normal for me to walk out my back door and be faced with a massive grey kangaroo that was much taller than me.
Yeah.
And I'm 5'8".
Yeah, they get massive. They get really big.
Huge.
More than enough tucker in one of them to feed a large cat type critter.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And we get these big adult kangaroos all over Australia with their heads torn off and their lungs are missing. Oh, yeah, they like decapitating kangaroos. That's one of their main foods. So...
It's like a hawk with a chicken, how a hawk will only take the chicken head.
Yeah. That's high protein and fat in the brain, see?
Yeah.
It's a good bit to eat.
In the brain. How interesting.
And thylacines, quolls, they're both blood feeders. So they'll take the blood-filled organs, they'll rip the throat out and drink the blood as well. Quolls do that as well. They'll come in and kill all your chickens and drink all the blood.
High iron content.
Yeah, all those goodies. All those goodies.
Isn't that interesting? It's fascinating. I could talk to you forever, but
No, that's all good. Thank you very much for your time and your information, Amanda. I really appreciate it.
It was really great talking to you, and I hope one day that we get to the point where I wish I'd had my camera on me that day.
Never mind. Never mind. You're not the first person to be frozen still staring at this thing. It's all good.
It was lovely talking to you. If you ever need to talk to me again, just give me a call.
No worries. Thanks very much for your time.
Take care.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.